What's up, everybody? Welcome back, man. It's your boy D-Friend. Episode number 91 of the D-Friend Show is about to begin right now. Not too many topics to get into today, but we do have a couple things that we need to get into and a couple things that we need to discuss for today. So, as you can see by the title, Ahmaud Arbery's killers have been sentenced, right? They have now found out their fates. We all know that they went to trial. It was a very long trial. I believe it was like 14, 15 days of trial. Facts were coming out. Information was coming out. So now we know their fate. I also have my first reaction, not my full detailed, that. First reaction to Gunna's album, DS4EVER, DS4EVER or whatever, and The Weeknd Dawn FM. We have to talk about the Supreme Court and their vaccine mandate hearing that they had there, because I feel like that's important, and that is going to be in news you should know, honestly, because I think that is news that you should know. We also have Supreme Court justices putting out misinformation themselves. Like, they talk about everybody else putting out misinformation, but there's Supreme Court justices out here that are putting out misinformation. So before getting into that, where's my remote at? Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Make sure you turn on the post notifications as well, so I know every single time that you post. One moment while I look at the comments real quick before we get into anything, before we get started. I'm here for this. What's Gucci D-Friend? What's good with that trial? Hey, man, it's over. That was good with it. So we're getting there first, just, because it's pretty quick. It's a tidbit, right? So Travis McMichael, the man who shot Ahmaud Arbery when they were in a little tussle for the gun, he got life without parole, which pretty much everybody who's an analyst of law was predicting that Travis McMichael would get. Greg McMichael, the father, was on the back of the pickup truck chasing down Ahmaud Arbery. He also got life without parole. And then the guy whose video footage pretty much sealed the deal on these guys, because if there was no video footage, we might have been looking at a completely different trial. But the fact that this guy filmed it and engaged in the activity that led to Ahmaud Arbery's death, he got life with the possibility of parole, and they pretty much assumed that he would get that. The judge explained why he did that. He explained, this guy, Mr. Bryant, showed some type of remorse, some type of awareness during the situation, during the trial. So it was only right for him to, if you think that's right, what the fuck, life without parole, your life's still done with, but you have the possibility of getting out. Also, they're not just life without parole for Travis and Greg, they're life without parole plus 20. So they also have those additional 20 years onto their life sentences. So that's pretty much what's down the pipeline for them. And I think this puts out a good message, right? I think it kind of stunts the need for, your own type of what's the word I'm looking for? What the fuck is the word? Vigilante justice, right? So, and I don't want to compare apples to oranges, things like that, but I honestly do feel like this is some type of repentance for what happened between Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, right? This is what should have happened in that trial, but obviously that's not what happened. The media was able to do whatever, and obviously back then, we are not in the time that we are in right now, where if something like this would have went by the wayside, and I'm not saying that the only reason they got charged was because everything that happened with George Floyd, everything that happened with this is what should have happened, but whenever, society as a whole is becoming more aware of certain injustices and things like that, I feel like law will tend to go in that favor. And just to speak about that, and this was just honestly a super coincidence. Like, I didn't even know that the Ahmaud Arbery trial sentencing was going to happen today, but I just decided yesterday that this was going to be the next book that I picked up, and it is Tamika Mallory's State of Emergency: How We Win the Country That We Built. This isn't like a promo for, obviously they're not paying fucking promo. I ain't got like 1 million viewers, but this, like, just reading 70 pages of this so far, and then thinking about the Ahmaud Arbery trial, like, shit that she talks about makes so much more sense to me. And if you want to read it, it's like a really interesting read. She gives her background so far in the 70 pages I've read, historical context backing up the way she feels, the way she believes. And I do think that is tied into a lot of things that happened with this Ahmaud Arbery trial. Because don't forget with Ahmaud Arbery, he was killed months before these guys were brought to trial. And I honestly, truly believe that if those videos had not ended up going viral around the same time Breonna Taylor incident happened, I believe there was somebody else that, I think even George Floyd shit happened as well. Like, I believe these other things, these events would not have happened. This potentially could have been swept under the rug, and it would have just been a black man out there dead and no repercussions for these guys' actions. And that's how I truly, honestly feel it could have happened. So like I said, it was just coincident that this happened while I had already read 70 pages of this book, which, not gonna lie to you, is a pretty good read so far. And it's not like it's not like something you got to really, these words, this, I got to know this, I got to know that. She breaks it down good, and I'm only in 70 pages of that so far. So that's my book of the week as well. So I think that's fair trial, fair justice. You guys cannot just go running around killing people. I know y'all had robberies in y'all's community previously. I know, I get it. So y'all are on the lookout. Y'all looking for things. I've been through that. I've lived in places where my car's been broken into, and you're just watching everybody walking by. But you cannot, as a citizen, see somebody that you do not know if they've actually stolen anything, chase them down and kill them. You cannot do that. You can't do it. And I'm glad this has been put out there that, at least in Georgia, that's not the way that we getting shit done. So, you should do that every week. But I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. Like, I think so, because so far the year started right, and I've read Napoleon Hill's Keys, Principle. I forgot the title, but it's like Principles to Keys, something like that. And then I started picking up the Tamika Mallory book, and I started reading it. It's a very good book. So I think I'm gonna do like my weekly. Whenever I'm done with a book, or when I'm reading a book, I'll come on here, let you know what I'm reading. Maybe because reading is education and it's good for you. So it's just something that you should pick up this year. And I have all these goddamn books behind me every day. I can't be sitting here with all these goddamn books and being a hypocrite and just showing shit just to look like I'm smart. I actually got to crack them open. I actually got to read them. And then I want to actually talk about them as well. So next thing we're going to get into is some music, right? So Gunna, very popular rapper, dropped his album, DS4EVER. And I'm not gonna lie, this is all just first reaction. Like, this is not me listening to it multiple times. This isn't gonna be an opinion where I'm just saying like, okay, this is my stamp on it. This is how I'm gonna feel about it for the rest of the year. I want to get that out there before I speak on it. So my first listen to it, I was like, this is trash. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I saw people tweeting classic, and I kind of hate when people do shit like that, because in a way it makes me feel jaded to certain shit that's going on. When I see people just promoting classic, when I see that and I listen to it and I don't also believe that it is a classic, it makes me a little bit jaded towards the album for the rest of the listen. So I listened to it for the first time, and I can say from the track listing that I have pulled up here, which there was 20, well, there's supposed to be 20 songs, but it ended up only being 19, because I guess the song Pussy Power featuring Drake was no longer available. Maybe it didn't get cleared or whatever. But this is a track listing for the album, Private Island, Pushin' P, Poochie Gang Mop. Thought I was playing Pussy Power, which is not on the album. How You Did That, featuring Kodak, A Lot of Cake, Living Wild, You and Me, Southwest. You can read the fucking things. I ain't gonna read them all for you. But initially, my opinion of the album was, okay, Gunna's like, it's cool. It's more of a vibe type of thing. It's not nothing where I'm like, oh my God, this guy is fucking supremely talented at what he does. Like, I don't think he's a supremely talented like rapper. Like, I don't think he's in that realm as far as like people who can rap. He's not that. But if he's like just a guy who's the vibe, it's more of a lifestyle thing. And I guess that is cool, right? But I felt initially, through my first listen, that he was carried by his features, especially, and I cannot say this enough with as much praise as I can say it with, 21 Savage, to me, is positioning himself to another level. Just sit with that while I get some water. He's been consistent. He has not missed. And I can say 21 Savage hasn't missed in like the past. Let me say, ever since, because I wasn't like a real big 21 fan. Whenever the freshman shit was going on, right? My bad, I'm over here fucked up. I ain't got corona, I promise. But I wasn't a big fan of him around the freshman shit, right? But once Bank Account dropped, I don't remember what album that was. I know it was like a pink kind of album, cartoony album. He has not missed. And he's been very consistent, right? And then we got Kodak. He was on the track with Gunna. He carried. And then I heard that track, You and Me, which has a sample on it of a very, popular R&B song. And I was like, oh my God, this is fucking horrible. They're going to ruin this fucking song. And obviously in this one, when it comes to singing, Gunna's not the singing guy. Obviously he's heavily auto-tuned. And then Chloe Bailey, she does what she does, and she sounds amazing. 25K Jacket. When I see Gunna and Lil Baby, I'm expecting a hit record. That's me personally, because when I see certain people paired together, I'm expecting hit records. When I see Drake and Future, I'm expecting hit records. I don't know what you guys expect, but when I see them, I expect hit records. And I don't believe that this record is going to be one of their, more memorable as a a team or a collective, whatever you want to call them. And also, when I hear these stories that Gunna taught Lil Baby how to rap, and just seeing the way that in the trajectory of Lil Baby and seeing where Gunna's at, it just baffles my mind that was actually happening at a certain point in time. It's not disrespect to Gunna, like I said, but when I think of rappers, he's not the guy that I'm putting in that category as like the top of the class, the top of this, the top of that. As far as like lifestyle, and like I said, there's a lot of things that are, for some artists, things are more primary than their music, right? And Gunna's music is cool. He'll have hits here and there, but I feel like the way that he looks, the way that his lifestyle is, the way that he just, the lingo, the words, the things like that, the things that he adds to the culture, like in that aspect, besides music, put him in those conversations with those people. But I don't really think musically he belongs in those conversations with the top. Like I said, the NBA Youngboys, the Rod Waves, like these guys, I don't see him being in that category, and I don't think he should be in that category. But anyways, the song with G Herbo was cool. Obviously, the Too Easy remix, Roddy Ricch and Future, that shit's fire. And then Die Alone with Young Blue and Chris Brown. Young Blue, I think he has a very, very promising career, and I know it's supposed to be about Gunna and his album. Like I said, this is all my first listen. These are my notes I made off my first listen. Young Blue is going to have a very, very good career if he continue to stay motivated and continue to pump out music like he's pumping out music. And then, not going to lie, once it got after that Young Blue shit, the Missing Me song that was just with Gunna, I think that was great. I like Gunna when he sounds like that. And then there was a So Far Ahead Empire song, which is a 5-minute song from Gunna, but it didn't feel like a monotonous, auto-tuned, like it didn't feel like that. It felt like I was listening to a really well thought out, well planned, well put together record. And that just goes to also, I know we're in the streaming era, right? So I know guys want to make these long ass albums because they want to get their streaming numbers up, right? That's what they want to do. They want to stream well, so it looks like their album's selling well. But at some point, can we just get back to, scrap the numbers, fuck the numbers, right? I know we're not going to, but fuck the numbers. Let's try to make a very, and I'm not even saying cohesive where everything has to be themed out. Like, it don't have to be like The Weeknd's album. It doesn't have to be like a Kendrick album. But can we just pick our best 10 songs, right? Our best 10 records and put those out rather than, hey, we got a couple spotty records here and then we're just going to fill it in with a bunch of other things like that. Can we like make that the standard going forward? Or if that's the case, guys can just start putting out singles. So what up? Salute you. Hey, Archer, what's going on, man? How you doing today? How you doing today? So that's pretty much what I have on Gunna's album. And I did want to speak on this because it's what's tied to Gunna's album. They try to get Gunna the fuck up out of here on his album release date, right? And this person's verified, right? She's a Love and Hip Hop LA or Miami lady. So the headline was Young Baby Tate or Baby Tate, something like that, calls out Gunna for transphobic lyrics. Right? So I see this, shit. Here we go. Gunna's done. He's fried. They gonna get him. He gonna get the fuck up out of here. So Atlanta rapper Gunna is facing backlash from rapper Baby Tate, her fans, and the LGBTQ plus community on Friday morning following the release of his new studio album, DS4EVER. Fans rushed to listen to the project, and when they got to Thought I Was Playing, which is the one with 21 Savage, which is amazing by 21 Savage. Even Gunna, I'm not gonna lie, Gunna's part on that because, like I said, I listened to it the first time. Those were my first reactions. Second listen, I'll have better critiques when I come to talk about it on Monday. But that was just very first listen. So many misheard his lyrics and believed that he was dissing trans people. He said this. This was the lyrics from Gunna. He said, "These boys a bunch of pussies. They no different than a trend." Right? That's what he said. A trend. But on the song, according to the lyrics page on Genius. However, Baby Tate and hundreds of others thought that Gunna said these boys a bunch of pussies, they no different than a trans, which would have been ridiculously unsound to say in the chorus to one of the album's most anticipated songs. But let's take it back, right? I don't sound like a hypocrite because people have feelings, people feel how they want to feel. But just for the art of rap, right? Just for the art of rap, could you respect that if he did turn that into a bar? Like, think about it. These boys a bunch of pussies. They no different than a trans. Like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but just the art of the bar, the way that he put that together. These boys, which you are, a boy at first, or you're in a boy's body, might I say, and then but a bunch of pussies, which you. I'm not trying to get canceled, but that shit would be kind of fire if you said that. Now I get it. We live in a different time. We live in a different world where artists can't really say these things anymore. So we're on the lookout for it. We're looking to get you. We're looking to find you. If you say these things, they're gonna get you. And in rap, I don't think it's gonna really work because most, like I said, with Boosie, most rap fans really don't give a fuck. So the cancellation thing, isn't going to really go well. And festivals eventually like, okay, we can't cancel every single rapper. So eventually it's going to fizzle out. Nobody's going to give a fuck. But this is what she tweeted. So she said, if the tweet is causing more transphobia, then I'll delete it. But I still believe I heard what I heard, and he was wrong if that's what he said. I will always stand up for the LGBT community. I don't care. And I think she's also a part of the LGBT community because I believe that she is bi or something like that, if I remember correctly from the show. So she also went on to tweet, it's funny how every time I call someone out for being morally wrong, y'all bring up a 6-year-old out of context tweet. LOL, I don't care to explain it anymore, and y'all will not bully me out of speaking up for the trans community. Y'all did the same shit when I called out Uzi. Now, I don't know what Uzi said for her to call him out, but apparently she's on the rappers. Young Baby Tate is on the lookout for any tweets or any lyrics that have anything to do with gay people, bi people, lesbians, queer, transgender. She's on the lookout, so make sure you run them by her before you go off and do your rapper thing. Because to be honest, I've heard some recent ones from some rappers, and those kind of flew under the radar. But I'm not gonna put them out there and expose them. But they go with the bar, right? This is rap. It's gonna happen. Cancel culture is not gonna get rap the same way that it has kind of had a stranglehold on the world of comedy. I just don't think that that's gonna take place. And also because the fan base doesn't really care to go with it. Not that, the black community or the hip hop community hates the LGBTQ, but they're going to look at it like, come on, it's rap. They're doing a rap thing. If it's a good bar, if it's a good line, we rocking with it. We cool. Like I said, these boys are pussies. The same thing as trans boys get put. Like, I'm trying to break it down like that, if he did say it. But Genius is saying that he said trends. He did not say trans. So that's that. And anyways, the next one, I'm probably going to get more into detail about the weekend on Monday, but I do just want to touch on my first reaction to Dawn FN by the weekend. And I can say that, I ain't gonna lie, when I first cut it on, I wasn't really fucking with the 80s shit. Like, I was like, I get it, he got Quincy Jones on the project. He been in his little 80s bag, maybe early 90s bag or whatever like that. I get it. That's cute. That's cool. That's what he doing. That's getting him bread. That's getting him hits. It's getting him putting these looks. I get it. Do your thing, brother. But I was kind of like, I'm not really here for the 80s shit. But as I went on to listen, I'm going to say this. And I know I got to listen to it maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more times. But this is off my first and second and a half listen. The Weeknd is setting a bar for the year. He's the first person, major artist. Now, there's probably other people that trickled out. Obviously, Gunna drop. But I feel like as far as the big heavy hitters, The Weeknd is setting a bar and setting a standard of sound for the year. Because like I said, this music through and through to me sounds like quality and talent. Regardless if you like the 80s sound, that's fine. If you don't really fuck with the 80s type techno, whatever shit like that, that's cool. But just appreciating the way shit sounds, the way he sounds, the way the beat sounds, the way the skits sound, The Weeknd is setting a bar for this year. And I don't know if this is like an album that's like I don't know if this is like I'm sure it's a real album. I'm not saying it's not a real album. He got Jim Carrey on the shit. He got Tyler, which that song with Tyler Creator is amazing. The song Best Friends is amazing. There's another song on there that I think is amazing. He's going to find his big hit records within this album. So once again, The Weeknd is just like supreme talent, in my opinion, will always get you there. Also paired with, money for labels and shit like that. But supreme talent will get you there. And I think The Weeknd putting himself out there to be the first person to drop this year is a very good thing and a smart thing on his part, because honestly, even Gunna, like the fact that Gunna dropped is going to do great for his sales, right? Just because also he dropped at The Weeknd, so people want to compare The Weeknd and Gunna. Let's see who's better, yada, yada, even though it's completely two different styles of music. But people will compare the two albums and say who's better, who's isn't. But also, Gunna has allowed himself to be the first high level, or not, I don't say high level, but high notoriety rapper to drop. So pretty much all of hip hop culture is focused on this perennial first release. So I'm sure that'll also help with the numbers of Gunna's first week. And if it doesn't, I don't even know what to say about it, but I just assume that that is probably the motive and the tactic behind being the very first person to jump off the porch for 2022, drop their album, let it live, and that's the motivation behind that. So I want to get into some real, like I'm not saying music isn't real shit, but like, some more stories that affect you around the world. So this is what I'm going to get into. I'm going to get into the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court is currently, or not currently, they already did it. It's gone. It's over with. So they were hearing challenges to President Biden's vaccine mandates. And as you know, if you were in a job that has more than 100 people, if this passes, if this goes through, they will start, hey, you either have to get the vaccine to work or you have to get mandatory testing every single week. That's just the way that the law is shaping up. So this is the story. The Supreme Court hears arguments on Friday regarding the legality of two major vaccine initiatives from the Biden administration efforts to address the COVID-19 pandemic in the workplace. The policies at stake include a vaccine or test requirement for workers at large employers and a vaccine mandate for workers at healthcare centers. Challengers say Congress has not authorized the measures, adding that they are unnecessary and in some ways counterproductive. The New York Times reports, and then that was like a Twitter thing, so keep it here for the latest, right? So they were speaking about this during the trial. They were kind of like the judges or the justices, whatever you want to call them. They were kind of like, why isn't Congress creating the law for this? Why are we having to be the ones to debate if whatever Joe Biden's executive order power he's trying to push? Why are we doing that, right? And I honestly believe there's a reason for that. I honestly believe, and this is just me, because I'm starting to really feel like I got kind of a groove on how politics and shit like that works. Congress doesn't want to talk about it or make a bill about it or vote on it because they don't want to be tied to that decision. Because you can see what people yes to, you can see what people no to, right? So there's probably a bunch of, because obviously the Republicans, they're gonna all know. They're gonna be all no, they're not fucking with it, they're done, right? But I do feel like there are certain Democrats that don't really like the idea of mandates, but they know if they'd sign their name on that dotted line, they are now the new target. Like they see what the fuck's happening to Joe Manchin. He's a target. He's pretty much enemy number one in Democratic, media world as far as not being able to pass bills, right? So I feel like it's like a cop-out. So, hey, let the Supreme Court do it. We're not going to fucking deal with it because we don't want our names attached to it. And if the Supreme Court denies it, I would just say, that's because Republicans run the. Like, to me, it looks like a political tactic and a political ploy. That's what it looks like to me, to rush it to a Supreme Court decision. And what do you think of Supreme Court justice, right? Because I'm going on to information that was spoken about in the trial. What do you think about Supreme Court justice, right? You think that, and this is, I don't fucking think I'm smarter than Supreme Court justice. Do not even, when I'm speaking about this, do not even think that is what I'm saying. I do not think I'm smarter than a lot of these people that are sitting on the Supreme Court. I mean, obviously when it comes to law, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But when it comes to information about COVID, there's a Supreme Court justice, right? Justice Sotomayor. She's appointed, I believe she was appointed by Barack Obama while he was still the president of the United States. And obviously in these trials, they have to bring up certain things, right? So they have to bring up, why they believe it should be or why it shouldn't be. So she started bringing up coronavirus facts that are completely false, right? We, us people on the internet who speak about these things are vilified just by saying, I believe in mandates, or I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that, whatever. We have a Supreme Court justice who has the power to either yay or nay. Obviously, she needs the majority vote, but she still has a powerful position. And she's put out statistics like this. She said, COVID deaths are at an all-time high. If she's claiming that there's 5 million people that have died from COVID around the world, and now today there's 5,000,001, so now we are at an all-time high, then technically she's correct, right? If the date was 5 million this day, and the next day is 5,000,001, she is correct. But if she's trying to say that in this very moment that we're having a surge, that deaths are at an all-time high, she is either severely misinformed, and I want to know who she listens to, who she reads, who she watches, or she's just a liar. She also claimed that Omicron has been deadlier than Delta, which is also a lie. It's not. There's scientists that have all kind of data, all type of information to prove that. I would recommend anybody, this is what I'd recommend. Anybody who's watching me or anybody who watches me, right? And you're like, I don't want to fucking listen to you, D-Fran, talk about statistics of corona, and that's fine. I'm not like mad. Oh, no, please. I don't care. Look up, if you want like a very even keeled, just here's the stats. I'm not going to fear monger you. I'm not going to do any of those things. Watch not right now, watch me still, but watch Dr. John Campbell. He updates every day with statistics around the world, quotes from scientists all around the world. He might share you some numbers that you might look like, damn, that's a little bit wild, but it's not the same type of fear-mongering statistics that you see media use to manipulate and just make us think there's something going on. So Dr. John Campbell, that's who I watch, and I think he's a pretty good person at breaking down the stats for coronavirus. But anyway, she also claimed 100,000 children are hospitalized with COVID, which is not true. And then she said OSHA's regulatory authority is a federal police power, which she's obviously, from how I look and how I sound, how I'm feeling like she's saying, LOL, not watch me. Yeah, because motherfuckers like, oh, let me go watch him. No, stay here and watch me. Don't jump off yet. You watch that motherfucker later, right? But the fact that we have a Supreme Court justice that is potentially going to base her decisions off these statistics that are wrong, to me, is very troubling. I don't know if it's troubling to you, but to me, if we have a Supreme Court justice that's willing to stake her opinions or her decision on this that affects tons of, like we said, only 60% of Americans are fully vaccinated, right? So this is going to affect a high amount of people, right? So the fact that her thought process on it is wrong, to me, is very troubling. It's very troubling. So I think they broke, right? I was listening to it. I think when I started listening to it, it was really, they weren't really focusing on the large employer one where like you have over 100 employees, yada, yada, yada. They were more focused on the medical care field and how they can implement it within medical care facilities. They were bringing up things like, well, I'm sure they got to do this just for the sake of argument because it is like kind of court. It is, legal. It is whatever. They were saying shit like, well, what's the difference? If we have mandates that people in the hospitals must wear gloves and must wear masks to protect, why can't we tell them that they must get vaccines? It's like, the dude said, all due respect to your honors, we spoke about this with the court before y'all because obviously y'all the highest court. We had to go through a bunch of different courts to get to you guys. We spoke with them and they kind of agreed with us that you could take mask off when you get home. You could take gloves off when you go home. A vaccine is a medical procedure that stays with you, well, not forever because we still got to get boosted, but it don't come off you. So that's why they don't think it should be. And they also brought up the fact they were saying, well, why don't we see any, hospitals here complaining, right? They were more like, well, I don't see any corporations complaining on it. Fuck the corporations. There's people complaining about it. The Mayo Clinic, one of the most prestigious hospitals in America, probably around the world. They just fired 700 people who weren't vaccinated. So obviously there are things going on where there are people, like you're talking about the corporations. The corporations going to do whatever the fuck they got to do, stay open, make money. And if they think that getting the vaccines is going to make them look like a hospital where people can come in and get money, they're going to do whatever they got to do. We're talking about the people. Fuck the corporation. We're talking about the people. What do people feel? Salute Vicky Love in the chat. What's up? So that's my thing about it. And they're going to make their decision, I'm sure, sometime next week. And I honestly feel like they're probably not going to pass it, right? There is a Republican majority in it. And I don't know why we keep acting like, oh, it's not political. It's like, we know. Like, that's why it's such a big fucking deal. And also, to me, remember how I spoke about earlier, if you watch it earlier, when I said, I think this is a political ploy to not put too much onus on Congress to make a move to where Republicans got to put their name on the dotted line. Democrats got to put their name on the dotted line. It's more like, hey, this is going to be a thing for election year. This is a spectacle fucking thing, right? So if the Republicans in the Supreme Court say no to mask mandates, we've already seen yesterday in the video I put it, they want it to be a moral good to follow the rules, moral bad if you do not get the vaccine. Like, we already seen those things, right? It's a good and a bad. It's a good and evil. We've seen it. I showed it to you yesterday. This is going to be their introduction into, you know what we need to do? We need to pack the court, right? That salute, hey Archie, see you later, big dog. Appreciate you for watching. We need to pack the court. This to me, it just seems it's like chess. It's not checkers. We may see it as this thing right here, like it's in our face, like okay, they're in front of the justice. But I see it as okay, this is a good way for us to get the support from our people to start packing the court because we know a lot of our people really kind of fuck with they think that a lot of people fuck with the vaccine mandates, but once they see, oh, we could never get shit passed with this majority Republican Supreme Court. Fuck it. Back the court. We support it. Fuck it. Do it. That's how I look at it, right? And I could be completely wrong, but that's how I fucking look at it. That's how I see it. And it makes sense to me how I'm saying it. So there's that. And I think I got like one or two more things. I'm going to head up out of here. So I want to talk about this because this is very dangerous, right? This is something that happens, I won't say a lot, but it happens and it can lead to very dangerous situations. So Tim Pool, whether you like him or not, I don't really give a fuck, does his live show every single night. And he has multiple guests on throughout the week, right? Put together a show. It gets like 40,000 viewers per night. It's great. People love it. They got swatted last night during their live stream broadcast. If you don't know what swatting is, like how I'm live right now, someone knows my home address. They call the police department in my local area and say, this is going on. Most times it's people murdered, hot situation. They bust in people's houses and shit could get sticky. Shit could get violent. Now, this may be my, I won't say conspiracy theorist bias, or not bias, but conspiracy theory hat going off. I was just wondering that for a fan to do this, I wonder if they did this just to see what would happen, because they did have a guest on by the name of Brandon Tatum, who is a black man. So, hey, let's say there was somebody that killed two people in this house, and there's hostages, right? And they're all white guys in this house, pretty much what I see. Maybe they say they're half Mexican, half Asian, but, if you see them, they pass as white men. Everybody in there, white girls. Brandon Tatum's the only black man in the building. I wonder if somebody did that just for that specific social experiment type thing. I can't prove that, but it is interesting that that's what popped in my mind when I first initially saw what happened. So anyways, Tim Pool spoke about it on his show, and he brought up the fact that he told what the police said. So someone called, bling, 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 hey, at this house, XYZ, da-da-da, Lane Drive, whatever, 2 people have been killed, and the gunman is in there threatening suicide to himself. They come in, they walk through Tim Pool's house. He was very upset about that. He said police were told not to enter his home without a warrant, but they said they needed to check the house, which, honestly, they kind of have to, right? I would assume. If someone says, hey, there's a murder going on in this house, and someone's holed up in there trying to kill themselves, the person who just murdered everybody, they can't just pull up like, hey, nothing goes on in the house, and just take your word for it. They gotta have to go in and check out the scene, check out the vicinity to really make sure. Now, I get it. You're doing a live show. It's probably a fucking inconvenience. You feel violated. Honestly, I'd feel like if people knew where I lived and I was getting violated by people being swatting me, I'll be very, very upset. I watched the H3 podcast, and they say they've been swatted plenty of times in the recent year, right? So, and also, we've seen a major case of swatting that leads to death, or that led to a death. So, Ohio gamer was sentenced to 15 months prison for fatal swatting case. Casey Viner, 19, of North College Hill, Ohio, also is restricted from gaming activity for 2 years. U.S. District Court, Eric, whatever, announced this. So there was a guy who was streaming at his desk. They called the SWAT team. I don't know what they told him, but, hey, there's an active shooter here. They got hostage. He's streaming. They bust in. He turns, and they start blasting him, right? He's dead. We've seen people's dogs get shot. We've seen shit go on, because when you tell people that, if you tell police officers, hey, there is active danger here, there's active shooters here, they're going to go in that situation blind, thinking that they are about to encounter someone that is very, very dangerous. I don't think that, 15 months, I ain't gonna lie, maybe because this is a very new thing, maybe they don't know how to really, get sentencing guidelines for this. But if your actions like that are so negligent, so irresponsible, that lead to the death of another human being, I think that, there should be more severity to a crime and punishment like that, because I guarantee you it will tamper down anybody's attempt to do that to other people. Because I think off the rip too, if you do a false, we know we got false police reports, shit like that, we see Justice Smollett shit, all that shit, right? If you fake swat somebody to somebody's house, fake SWAT, I say you give automatic 3 years probation, automatic a year in prison. I don't know how to curb it, but it has to be something severe enough to where people will think twice before they do it. That's just me. That's just my opinion. And luckily in Tim Pool's case, nobody was harmed. Nobody was hurt. But I can understand how now in that home, you would feel very, very violated, honestly. Because that situation could have went a completely different direction. Like he said, if his I don't know, he said CTO, I guess his chief technology officer, was not outside at the moment the police pulled up. And imagine they're just in that room, right? Imagine they're in that room, everybody's in the room. Nobody's downstairs, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. Police bust in your crib, they're going around, they break down the studio door, and they just got all y'all motherfuckers in there. They might just start, oh shit. You don't know what could happen. I'm not saying it's what would have happened, but we just don't know if that possibility was there and that could have happened. So that's that. Last thing I want to get into is a fucking Weenie Hut Jr. Ted Cruz is a fucking Weenie Hut Jr., right? I tell you guys, I live in the great state of Texas. I know a lot of y'all might not like Texas. People talk shit about Texas, all this good shit. I love Texas. Obviously, you can see by the numbers of mass migration to Texas. And I'm not saying from the southern border, but I'm talking about from everywhere else in America to Texas. People love the way that Texas is run as well. So, obviously, Ted Cruz, he's had a litany of controversy, right? Trump was saying his dad was a part of the, like, JFK assassination, some shit like that. He was talking shit about his wife. Then Ted Cruz, what he ended up doing, he ended up kissing the ring of Donald Trump. And, you know, like most Republicans, they all kiss that ring. Oh, yes, Daddy Trump. That's what they do. So now Ted Cruz is kissing another ring. Now Ted Cruz is kissing the ring of the almighty, all-powerful Tucker Carlson. So this is a clip. I just want to play this clip. I think it's about a 2-minute clip of Tucker checking Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz yesterday or even the day before of the January 6th anniversary insurrection, all this shit like that, said that the people that attacked the Capitol were terrorists. Let's take a look.
I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because the way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And
I don't buy that.
Whoa.
I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as seriously as any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word, you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
So, Tucker, as a result of my sloppy phrasing, it's caused a lot of people to misunderstand what I meant. Let me tell you what I meant to say. What I was referring to are the limited number of people who engaged in violent attacks against police officers. Now, I think you and I both agree that if you assault a police officer, you should go to jail. That's who I was talking about. And the reason the phrasing was sloppy is I have talked dozens, if not hundreds of times. I've drawn a distinction. I wasn't saying that the thousands of peaceful protesters supporting Donald Trump are somehow terrorists. I wasn't saying the millions of patriots across the country supporting President Trump are terrorists, and that's what a lot of people have misunderstood that comment.
Wait a second, but but hold on. What you just said doesn't make sense. So if somebody assaults a cop, he should be charged and go to jail. I couldn't agree more. We have said that for years. But that person's still not a terrorist. How many people have been charged with terrorism on January 6th? Like, why'd you use that word? You're playing into the other side's characterization that, as Joe Kent just explained, allows them to define an entire population as foreign combatants. And you know that. So why'd you do it?
So, Tucker, let me answer you directly. The reason I use that word, for a decade, I have referred to people who violently assault police officers as terrorists. I've done so over and over and over again. If you look at all the assaults we've seen across the country, I've called that terrorism over and over again. That being said, Tucker, I agree with you. It was a mistake to say that yesterday. And the reason is what you just said, which is we've now had a year of Democrats in the media twisting words and trying to say that all of us are terrorists, trying to say you're a terrorist, I'm a terrorist. And so, look, I don't like people who assault cops, and I stand up and defend cops. And the reason I use...
Hold on, that's the video of Ted Cruz bowing down to the king, Tucker Carlson, because honestly, politicians know this. I'm starting to realize this. The media is the almighty powerful. The media, like, you might think, oh, we love you, politicians, we love you. No, the media controls the people, right? The media is the one that gets people activated. The media is the one that creates feeling in people. I last year, I think, maybe 2020 through the pandemic, right? 2020, it's 2022 now. So 2020 in the pandemic, what did I start doing? I started watching shows that people raved and reviewed about that I never watched. So I started watching Scandal, right? And if you, but the person that watches Scandal, you saw that the guy was President Grant, and he had the white lady who was his vice president. What did that lady do after her vice presidency ended? She became a late night Fox News type host. And when they told her, are you going to run again? She said no. Why? Because she has more power sitting in that seat talking to those people every night than she has being behind that Oval Office, being behind whatever, right? She understood that there, and I'm starting to understand that now. That's why he's going to grovel to Tucker Carlson, because when Tucker Carlson gives you a tongue lashing like that, people that fuck with Tucker Carlson, which is a lot of people that are Republicans, because he is the highest rated late night, I don't say late night, but news network anchor out there. When he gives you that verbal tongue lashing, you need to go back to Daddy Tucker Carlson and tell him, I'm sorry, sir. I did not mean to offend you, so that he can tell the people, Teddy boy, he fucked up. Teddy, he didn't mean it, guys. You can like him again. Go do that. So I got for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. See you guys next time with your buddy friend. Peace.